Okay, so this is just going to be a tutorial on how to set up P5, which is basically just processing for the web, because I know a lot of people are interested in using it for their final projects. So the two things that you're going to need to make P5 work are some kind of code editor. Unfortunately, we can't actually use the processing editor for this, and a copy of the p5.js file. So we're going to go through how to get and set up both of these in the tutorial, so don't freak out. For the editor, there are three options that I would recommend just because these are the three that I have experience with. VS Code is the one that I'm currently using. You can see it in my doc right there. I really like it just because I really like the user experience with it. But Atom is basically the same thing. It's just a little bit of a different layout for things. Both of these you do have to download. Glitch is a little bit different because it is actually fully online. So if you don't want to download an editor, Glitch might be a good option. So basically, to make a P5 site, there are four sort of high-level steps. You're going to create a folder, create 3 files, which are HTML, CSS, and JS inside of that folder. We're going to try running it, and then we're going to add some P5. So let's start from the top. I should also note, this is the setup for if you're using VS Code or Atom. I'll go through the setup for Glitch as well. That one is a little bit easier, though. So, step 1, creating a folder. I have just created a folder called P5 Demo, and it's inside of the sites section of my laptop. I just made that because that's where I keep all of my coding stuff, but you can put it wherever you want as long as you're able to find it later. And right now it just does not have anything in it. So, once I have my folder set up and I have my editor of choice downloaded and installed, I'm just going to open it up, and you should see a screen kind of like this. So once you're at this screen, you can just say File, Open, and then we're just going to find our empty folder that we just made. So mine is in Sites, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab it, and then just click Open. So once that's done, you should see the folder name right here in the sort of left section of your editor. Make sure it matches and you're probably good. So now we're going to create our 3 files. So super quickly, just to give an overview of what each of these files does, HTML is basically what you see on the web. So if you're seeing text or buttons or links or anything like that, that's all done in HTML. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's basically how you see it. So if anything has a color added or a font added or any type of spacing or anything like that, that's probably done in CSS. And it's basically, it adds styles to things that we already have on the web. And JavaScript is what it can do. So that's what adds movements and fun interactions and what's going to allow us to put our processing onto the web. So starting from the top, let's just add our HTML file. So in this empty space right here, right underneath the file name, I'm just going to right click and then click New File. And then that should open this sort of blank text bar. And every project that you work on has to have an index.html file. Since for this project, probably most of us are only going to have one HTML file, I'm going to call this one index.html. And then once you've typed it all out, as long as the extension is right, you should see this little sort of opening and closing triangle brackets there. You can just press enter and that'll create the file. And then we're just going to repeat that step twice more, once for our CSS file and once for our JavaScript file. So let's add our CSS first. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Right click, new file. I usually call my first CSS file styles.css or just style.css. That's just what I'm used to, but you can call it whatever you want. And then once you finish typing CSS, you should see this little hashtag extension come up. Press enter and then do it once again for JavaScript. So right click, new file, whatever you want your JavaScript to be called. I'm just going to call it script.js, and JS stands for JavaScript. And then same thing, you should see a little JS pop up. And then just press enter. Cool, so now we have our file set up. We're doing awesome. Let's hop back to the HTML for a second. There's basically one thing that we have to do for our HTML. It's a little bit complicated, but don't worry because you can just copy and paste it from the files that I'm going to give you guys. So basically, in every HTML file, there has to be what's called a head section. And that's sort of what tells the web where our style sheet is and where, like, what to connect our web page to. So I have already made a section like that for us. So I'm just going to copy and paste it over. When you guys are following this tutorial, I will have the file linked either in Microsoft Teams or in the Notion page or both. And you can just copy and paste it as well. So I'm just going to open this. I'll just do it with a text editor. Oh, or not. Oh, it's a locked file. Okay, we'll open it with VS Code then. Okay, so this is sort of what our HTML starter will look like. I'm just going to grab everything here, copy it. I'll close this old file and then back into my index file inside of my P5 demo. Just paste all of that. So basically, you should see there's something here called link rel equals style sheet. That's what connects our CSS to our HTML. So just make sure that the name here, the style.css, matches the name here. And it has to match like exactly. There should be a little / before it as well. We also have a title here. It's a title tag. You can set that to whatever you want the title of your project to be. I just have it set to title right now because I don't want my project to have a title. But yeah, once you have that in, your HTML is pretty much ready to go. And when we write HTML that we want the user to be able to see, we're going to be writing it inside of the body tag, which is these two tags right here. So let's leave our cursor there and then I'll go over the glitch setup really quickly. As I mentioned, glitch is quite a bit easier to set up initially. Once you sign up for it, I think you can log in with like Facebook or Google, but once you sign up for it, you should see a page sort of similar to this and a button in the top right corner that just says new project. So you're just going to click on that and then click on Hello Web Page. And once you've clicked on that, after it loads, you should see all of your files over on the left side of the screen and the same sort of editor on the right side. So as we can see over here, we have our HTML, our JS, and our CSS file. And over here is all of the text that's going inside of them. So we can see on our index file here, it's already got the head tag added and it's already got the body tag. Glitch has gone ahead and put in a little bit of text for us just to see sort of what it's looking like. But we can go ahead and take that out when we want to add our P5. So basically, I'm just going to grab everything from right before this script here. Grab all of that up to the line right after body. I'm just going to get rid of that. We don't need that. So that's pretty much the same setup, but in glitch. Okay, so back to our sort of normal files. Now that we have our file, we said our next step was to try running it. So to demonstrate what the file looks like running it, I'm just going to add something random in our HTML file. I'm just going to add hello world. Let's make it classic code. So after I add that, I'm going to save it. This part, I thought when I started coding was a little bit scary, but don't worry because it's just one line of code that we have to copy and paste. So once you're in your editor, you're going to click View and then Terminal. And then that should open a little window down here. Mine has an extension added, so yours probably won't look like this arrow and the blue text here. But don't worry about it, it works the same way. So you basically are going to get this like white bar cursor, and we can go ahead and type in there. So there's one command that we need to run to see if our website is working on the web and if it's getting all of the content onto our web page that we want it to be. And that command is basically this line of code. So it's Python-M simple HTTP server. This number, I just choose 3000 because I don't know, it's what I put in the first time I did it and then I just stuck with it, but you can use pretty much any 4-digit number you want here. So you can either copy and paste this. Again, I'll put it into the same place where I post this on Teams, or just type it out. It's not that long to type. But yeah, we're just going to type Python space -m space. And then the capitalization here is a bit complicated. So simple with a capital S, HTTP, all caps, and then server, again with a capital S. So simple. And then once you have that typed, space, and then a 4-digit number. Again, I go with 3000 because I like it, but you don't have to. Once you have that typed, just press enter or return. And then it should say serving HTTP on whatever port 3000. So now we can go over to our web or Chrome or whatever you want to use. And you can see up here, I've typed in localhost :3000. So go ahead and type that in. Once that's typed in, you should just be able to press enter. I've already preloaded it, so it's giving me a warning right now, but it shouldn't give you that warning. So yeah, go ahead and type that in, press enter, and then we can see right here, it says hello world, which is the same thing that we typed in. So we have a running website now, yay! Okay, so now that we have that working, let's talk about how to add a P5. So I'm just going to leave this running because we don't need to use the terminal for anything else. So for P5, there's basically one thing that you need to download that's extra that we don't already have going. And it's basically just this p5.js file right here. So you can get to that by going to the P5 site and then just going to downloads. Again, I'll link it and it will also be in the sort of starter files folder that I give you guys. But just so you guys know where to get it if you want to do this again in the future, p5js.org downloads. So we only need p5.js or p5min.js. These two are the same thing. This one is just a bigger file because it hasn't been compressed. So I'm going to actually download the compressed one. And you just click on it to download. It's pretty standard. And then once you have that downloaded, once it's good to go, you can basically go back over to your editor and then just grab wherever that downloaded. So for me, it's just in the downloads folder. And I'm just going to drag and drop that into my sidebar with the rest of my files. And once it's there, we have it loaded. We're good to go. So again, just going to press save to make sure that we're saving our progress here. And then once we're here, we're going to go back into our index.html file. To go over that for glitch, it's essentially the same process. You're just going to press new file and then upload a file and then upload the file that you just downloaded from P5. And then you should be good to go as well. Oh, and then also to preview for glitch, you can actually just click show and then either in a new window or next to the code. So if we go new window, ours isn't showing anything right now because we didn't add any text. But let's say I say hello world, save that. Hello world, there we go. Same sort of process. This one's a different font because Glitch added a font for us, which was very nice of them. We can see that right here. So I'm going to stop going to Glitch now because it's basically the same process if you do it in Glitch or if you do it in our normal editor. So I'm just going to stick to P5, but follow the same process and you should be good. So basically once we're here, let's just get rid of hello world. There's a couple things we now need to add, and those things are called script tags. So script tags are how we tell our web page to grab some kind of JavaScript. And we know that we need some JavaScript because that's what P5 is running on. So to add that, we're just going to say open triangle bracket script, and then let's just close that. If you're using VS Code, it should automatically make a matching tag like this, and it's basically just a / and then script as well. So good to go so far. Now we need to add basically a source. So a source for HTML is just src, and then we type equals, and then we need to add these two scripts. We're going to add p5.min.js first. So it should be, we basically have to put a slash before everything, slash p5.min.js. And then we're going to do the same thing, but with our script.js file. Script src equals that slash. And then we should get a nice little autocomplete there, which is always helpful. And remember to close your tags as well. So let's just save that. So now, basically, this is telling our HTML page or our file to grab our P5 script, which is this one, and grab our normal script, which is this one. So now we should be able to use P5 on the web, which is really fun. I'm going to stop the video here, I think, and then I'll make another one for how to use or how to set up your actual P5 file.